Right, good evening everyone. I'm sorry we're late, but we had technical problems and it was good to speak to what for us is a vast crowd tonight. We never normally have anyone here. We're lucky if we get one or two people. That's how interested people are in the village, unfortunately. Right, we do have apologies from absence. Andrew?
Yes, I have apologies from Councillor Jones, Councillor Wright and County Councillor Richardson.
Right. Anyone have a declaration of interest or any interests? No? Right. Minutes of the previous meeting. You've all had a copy. Can I have a proposer and seconder?
Not proposed.
Updates from the minutes, not listed. Couple of things I would like to bring up. Beresford Road. How are we doing on that?
It seems to be not owned by anybody so far.
Right. Well, no, I was going to say we've spent some months trying to find it out.
Land Office don't seem to have anyone, and KCC don't seem to have anyone.
Okay, I would suggest that we yes. The CCTV in the rec is now working.
It's now fully operational.
Fantastic, yeah, well done, thank you, Andrew. Speed watch update pending. I saw Robin. Sorry, you go then, if you've got some news.
I talked to Mary.
Yep.
You talked to Robin, yeah. It will be put in place as soon as the weather improves.
Correct. And they had arranged a meeting and the other side didn't turn up, but you're right, the weather's been against it, so speed watch is going to happen. River School Gates, you were going to contact the school about seeing if they would extend the opening hours so that we wouldn't have everyone rushing to drop their children off at the same time. You've got hundreds of children, I think you've got a 15-minute window. It's going to cause problems. 10, sorry, I exaggerated, yeah. Yes.
Yes, with regard to opening hours, I was speaking with governors.
Sorry.
I was speaking with governors about it, that the earlier we open the playground, the more likely it is we have unsupervised children on our premises as parents tend to drop and run. Clearly this creates other issues for the school. Opening the doors earlier has significant impact on cost of staff and supervision, and my thoughts are you will just shift the same issue to an earlier time.
I was going to say, I know it's a long time ago when I went to school, there was always one or two teachers in the playground.
Yes.
You could get there an hour early. Now they're saying they'll man that playground for 10 minutes and they expect, and then they moan about the congestion. It's, yes, but they still got to get here. 400 people in 10,
Yeah, but if you have to be at 9 o'clock in Folkestone in an office and the school opens at 45, then you need to drop off your kid at bang on 45. You can't park up in the rec and then walk in here. You're too late at work.
So we've gone to the school anyway and they're investigating.
Nothing will change.
I know, but what more can we do? Everyone moans about the parking, Parish Council sorts it. But it's you go to any town, village in England at school opening time and closing time, it's the same. It's not new to here. The parents still ignore traffic rules. They've got jobs to get to, things to do. All they want to do is to drop the kids, get away, and get on with their life. They do, yes,
but £2 a day.
But they have to pay for that.
£2 a day, 2 kids.
Yeah, £20 a week. It's a lot of money for, It doesn't sound a lot.
For 45 minutes gain, it's not actually 8:15 you can drop them off then.
Yeah. But no, the school is saying, great, we'll take more for the breakfast club because they're getting
There's
money.
A list.
But it's really difficult. So no, we have tried, we do try, and there's so many things we can't do a lot about. Right, letter from River School. Did we reply to them with regard to the litter bin, or how did we leave that?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yep. That was a lovely idea. Came from one of the youngsters at the River School. Yeah, it's not possible, but at least it's nice that they were looking and trying to get involved with the village. Right, knocking the locking of the recreation ground. You spoke to the person concerned. Yes. Right. Sorry, I've gone through very quickly. Anyone else got anything from those minutes? No. Not okay.
No.
Sorry, I'm moving quickly because I know it's going to be Right. We're looking to receive reports from district and county councillors, none of which we have tonight. So you've missed a feast there, yes.
Well, I have actually got a...
But most importantly, we do have a policing report, yes?
Yeah, sorry, I think Andrew, were you going to say?
If I've got it somewhere, well, if you'd like to give your
Shall I fill it
report,
for
if you do yours first.
Sorry.
I have a written report.
Yes.
Oh.
So please go ahead.
Rather than hiding at the back.
Okay.
No.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris, PC Bates, I'm your local officer, so I cover, so to explain to people that I cover Dover Downs and River as we call it, so River, Lyddon, Temple, Ewell, Denton, Wotton. Is that all? Yeah, not at all.
No.
Not at all, I'm also the officer for Tower Hamlets and Elmvale and Maxton. I know. That's for those areas, and then we have other officers who cover other wards. We follow the wards that the district councillors work on, or the town councils work. In all honesty, it is a case of Tower Hamlets and Elmsvale may as well not exist. It is so cute, I'm not allowed to say that word. They get on with their business. The rec obviously has its issues, as we will discuss here as well. But they get on with their business, and there's a lot of commuters and etc. there. Tower Hamlets is Tower Hamlets. There's a lot going on. Plenty to be getting my teeth into and out here. Exactly as you mentioned earlier yourself, Chair, it is parking, it is antisocial behaviour, it is the staples of a neighbourhood officer. I am currently locked in a bit of an argument with my supervision around my shift pattern, because I work a lot of day shifts, which is lovely because I get to catch up on my paperwork and have a long lunch, but it's not much use to yourselves because I'm not here in the evenings when out of this time, the children are out of school or wherever they may be, and perhaps on the rec or wherever it might be. So I'm in a bit of a discussion about moving more shifts into the evening so that I can actually come out and be visible, do a bit of that. Speedwatch, I'm in touch with the gentleman who runs it, Alan, and I'm a great fan of it, so as and when they pop up I will come and join them wherever I can, so there's a bit of enforcement to go with the watch. In terms of, I don't try not to provide too many statistics because everything gets lost in the statistics, unfortunately. If you, for example, if you go on the Kent Police website and type in your postcode, it'll tell you the most common crimes by your area. If you type in a postcode in Dover Downs and River, it will tell you that there is a significant number of sexual offences that take place in our area. And why that is because we have a number of children's homes where a lot of children, unfortunately, make, send indecent images of themselves, which is a thing that children do now. Wasn't when I was at school, because you'd have had to get a Polaroid, but... So that skews the figures, and this is what I mean. If I tell you statistics, they're meaningless, because I can't give the context. However, all I will say is for River, we are fortunate. I do believe that this is a lovely community. People do tend to look out for each other. The reporting from River tends to be quite good, and that's my great message this evening, and I'm sure it is echoed by my colleagues on the council, is if you don't tell me things I don't know, and if I don't know, I can't do anything. And it may well be that you call 101 or you go on our website and report antisocial behaviour and you never see a police officer, or no one ever gets back to you. But it goes somewhere, and it becomes intelligence, and it becomes information that I can then act upon and direct resources and do things with. I spent my entire day today out in Ash, where they've had an explosion over the Easter break of problems with young people, and we've been out there and we've used the powers that we have available to us to disperse them. We've arrested one who has now been charged and will be going before a youth court at some point because of the behaviour that they're exhibiting. I don't think that we're at that level in River, I hasten to add, but that's what we can do when we know what's going on. So, for antisocial behaviour, the most direct route is to report it online. If you don't fancy reporting online, 101 is always an option. And of course, as I say to everybody, if there is immediate risk to life, limb or property, 999 is appropriate. We'll never get told off for calling 999. We don't cut you off and tell you that you have to pay more council tax. You make your call based on the information that's available in front of you. So please don't ever feel like you're wasting our time when you're doing a city call. If there is something going on, if something being damaged, if there is someone at risk, you can of course use my name. I've rambled on quite enough.
I have one question.
Please, go ahead.
I think we spoke recently because I've been subjected to some knockdown doorstep or whatever you call it nowadays, and my house had been egged a couple of times
Yes.
by the local superiors and put a package together of something that might address, because as you know, it's a small group of 4 or 5 youngsters that sort of
Yes.
go around. But, what would constitute that package? What generally is that? Is that, like you say, moving your shifts into the evening and having a presence?
Yeah,
Potential
potentially.
presence?
And what we have in neighbourhood policing now is we have 2 sides to it. There's my side, which is beat officers, which is Bobby on the beat as much as I possibly can and attending these sort of meetings. And then we also have what's called the neighbourhood task force, which is a very snazzy name. It's essentially officers who don't own a ward and can be directed where the need is greatest. Right, so I was talking earlier about Ash. We also have quite significant issues in Deal, where they're concentrating. As and when we see peaks and we notice things, evidence-based policing and all that business, we can then move those resources in.
Right.
So at the moment, I'm aware there's been a couple of reports regarding the rec recently as well. So I'm starting to build a bit of a picture, and indeed the picture that I'm building, from my early understanding, and I'll be corrected because of course I'm far from infallible, is that actually these are young people who don't actually live in River. They seem to be actually from up the hill, as it were, and they come down here because of whatever reason. Well, and you know, they're less likely to be disturbed by us, because we are often. So it all, as I was saying, it all builds a picture, and it's modern policing is many things, and one of many things it's frustratingly slow, and we do have to build and build and build, but then we can get to a point. So in Ash at the moment, you might see it on Kent Online because they love them, they love the story. We have in place what's called a Section 34 order, which is essentially an inspector has recognised there are so many issues that we as constables are empowered to direct people to leave, which is a pretty impressive and short, sharp shock power. Where essentially you can approach a group of teenagers, or whoever it may be, and say, this is your official warning to leave the area, and if you don't, you'll be arrested. And it's a bit of a line in the sand. As I say, we're not there just yet, and yeah, particularly the group that we talked about, the lower road, the issues that were going on there. I think I've got a few names in mind, and yeah, I think they're more coming down the hill.
Right.
So go to.
Just a quick question, Associate. Are you here till the end?
I'm not tonight, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So very quickly, Associate. Lots of us have got ring doorbells now.
Indeed.
So quite often there's a picture of said oik, I use the word. When that occurs,
That's a very gentle word.
what's the best way of
Let's congratulate the mannerism of strange.
yeah, what's the best way of getting that to you?
No, very good question. So,
Because I'm not one for wanting the Facebook police.
no, I do get that. I'm on the Facebook group. You'll never find me. It's yeah, I do keep an eye out. I do try and pay attention to it. Either you can do a report yourself online, and there will be an option to upload images on there. Or if you, I've probably forgotten my cards now. There's a program we use called My Community Voice that some may have heard of. He casts around lovely. Oh, makes me feel better. My Community Voice is basically neighbourhood watch, but like a little Facebook.
Okay.
So you sign up online with your email address. I send out emails regularly about what's going on. I send out my newsletters and if there's been particular actions taken. And it opens up a two-way thing, so then you can reply to me and send me things like that. There's all sorts of ways that we can get in touch. Or our generic email is just csu.dover@kent.police.uk, which I'll share with Andrew afterwards. And I'm perfectly happy to disseminated. I'm not allowed to give out my own email address for some bizarre reason. Even though I'll tell you all Kent Police email addresses are these 5 numbers at kent.police.uk. We're meant to pretend that it's some great secret. That's ridiculous. But yes, pictures is brilliant, because what I can do with those is I can go up the hill to the Christchurch Academy, or wherever it might be, and show the pictures and get some names. Yeah, absolutely. We have nice data sharing agreements, it's all completely within the realms, and it just means that, you know, we then work with the school, and actually if we know that they're having a bit of trouble at school, a bit of trouble at home, then we can step in, and it all, you know, I never mean to excuse this behaviour. I try not to be, I tried to say teenagers will be teenagers to a certain extent. I was a teenager once, and probably wasn't particularly pleasant to some people, but equally, people deserve quality of life.
And now the matter I was going to pick up afterwards. Delivery drivers wandering into your garden to deliver things. I mean, do they have to have consent to go? Is it just civil trespass, or, you know?
It is indeed civil trespass.
Okay, thank you. It wasn't, it was Royal Mail, but let's leave that to their complaint at the moment.
Yeah, right, then.
None of being employed.
Thank you.
Right.
Mentioned not very long ago. You had eggs thrown at you?
Yes. Not happening at my
At
house.
the house?
Yeah.
Yes, I had them earlier on this year, but January or February.
Same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my son went very quickly out in his van and he caught them. And they were outside the co-op. Now the co-op, many, many years ago, I'm sure Clive or Paul would all remember, they were told not to sell eggs to anybody, you know. Somebody comes in and asks for 2 dozen, you don't sell them, remember? And they stopped that. But now, that particular Sunday night, I thought first of all, oh, what's that, you know?
Yes.
Because when you went out, there's the wall all pelted with shells and everything. So you put cold water on it, you don't put hot, because that otherwise it will scramble on the wall. You know, so if everybody you get to know.
Sorry, if I'm obviously aware that you've got to get away and we've got a fairly full meeting. So
Well, we haven't had it since.
Yep.
So whether they
I can speak to the car, yeah.
But I think at the last meeting I raised there one of the questions from a member of the public that was regarding antisocial behaviour in the rec, and we went back and said to him, it's no good telling us a week later, report it.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do anything. And everyone thinks we'll come here and have a moan about it. It's too late. We can't do anything. We've got CCTV cameras, but what we record on them, you know, we made a mistake once of putting one online. And oh my goodness, we ended up with that poor little boy, he jumped on that and it broke. It's your fault because it broke, and you're thinking, goodness, so it is really difficult.
Yes, of course.
But no, really appreciate you coming. It's fantastic. No, it's nice. I mean, when I first joined the parish council, we had half a policeman. We shared him with one other village, and we paid for that. In the end, we got a quarter or a sixth. We said, well, we're not going to pay half anymore, but we're not even able to. We're not asked to contribute, but we have a sixth of a policeman, or maybe slightly less than that. But it's nice to have you here tonight. But no, thank you very much indeed for coming.
Not at all. I was only going to ask the CCTV, who's the best person to contact about that?
Andrew.
Right, I unfortunately have to pop back because I have a rather delicious case file to complete for the young man from Ash, and also because I don't really want to be here in the melee when you get to the planning section.
No, it's not going to
beyond my capabilities. I'm not even going to taser.
No, can you leave your number? Because if I call you, no, so you can come back. Yes.
It's 999. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
that was wonderful. Sorry. Yes.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Just so you know, there is a report from Nigel Collar, and Andrew's going to circulate to each of us a copy of it. That's from one of the Kent County councillors. Right. Any parish councillor want to bring anything up at this junction? Right. Christian? No. No. Pauline? No. Good. There we are. Right. We now come to questions from members of the public. So, if your first appointed person would like to stand up, you have, and it will be 5 minutes, unless you run out of speech before that, but you'll have a 5-minute slot. Can you put a time on? Yeah. Right.
I can time it.
And you are?
My name is Philip Hall. I'm a resident of Lower Road. I would have the pleasure of seeing this development from my bedroom window. I'm just trying to upload my comments so I can refer to it. But as you expressed earlier, the objection in planning is not personal opinion or aesthetic style, but moreover the kind of logistics and planning policy related to the development. One of which is the vernacular style of the development. There isn't a single precedent of a mansard structure anywhere in that area of the village. Equally so, the installation of flats hasn't really happened in the village. There are care homes, but they're a different property use type. So again, that doesn't really sit well, and also its proximity to, I think, 1 or 2 listed buildings, the two little cottages on the corner, being directly across the road. It's not very respectful to their presence and their historical value. Highways implications regarding the vehicular movements on and off of the premises would effectively, I mean, the CGIs don't really play it up so much, but when you look at the site plan, you would pretty much have to either reverse into the site, so having to do a manoeuvre on the public highway, which Kent highways would frown upon, because generally they like to see any residential development enter and leave the premises in forward gear, which would not be possible on this site. There is, along that vein, insufficient cycle storage. There were 2 motional bikes shown in the garden footpaths. I respect that this is an outline planning application, not a full application, but the development on the site maximises all of the space on the site that is usable. So the addition of compliant cycle storage, the addition of compliant refuse storage would curtail the footprint of the building potentially beyond the point of viability, which is why I make that point. And then also with my professional knowledge, looking over the floor plan of the flats, their communal space does not comply with Part B of the building regulations because there aren't any lobbies between the flat entrance doors and the dwelling unit itself, because there's usually a smoke lobby, of which they don't exist. So again, that would further impede the usable floor area. Again, I would, in my personal opinion, think that would make the flats non-compliant to space standards, because a 2-bedroom, 4-person flat, I think, needs to be 50 square metres gross internal floor area. And it's also the height of the building, its form and its mass. It's such a large box. There is no dynamic to its facade. I like the way that they give the folly of retaining the facade of the garage, but realistically, by the time you've taken what must be almost 100-year-old roof down behind that gable is just going to fall on its face, and we would end up with a timber stud built rendered river village facade, which is more of a folly than anything respectful. It's unfortunate we're not in a conservation area, but we are a historical village, so that comes with it its own kind of vernacular considerations. I think, and overlooking, which is another point, the upper floor doesn't have balconies, but the first floor has balconies, and I would struggle to see how that first floor wouldn't have quite an unimpeded view of a lot of the gardens on Lower Road, which back onto the river. So that's, the rule of thumb is if your balcony is 25 metres away from someone's window or boundary, that usually would constitute not overlooking, but the fact that you're elevated and you would perhaps have some bushes and trees blocking your view wouldn't be enough in my view. If I was living in those houses, I'd be enough at arms. As I said, I can see it from my property, but I have no view into my property. But yeah, so personally I think this development, whilst it's an agreement in principle, the principles it is proposing are insufficient to justify the development of the site. I know there's a previous application of 2 houses. That application came up with resistance from highways, kind of for the reasons that I've already explained. Manoeuvring in and out of the site would be problematic, so I would think 2 houses set further back into the site with larger driveways to allow cars to at least get on the premises, do a 3-point turn and leave the premises in forward gear would be the only way it starts. But I can appreciate this site is probably subject to God knows how many decades of contaminated land, so whoever buys it is probably going to have to spend no less than £100,000 digging up dirt, digging up old lead fuel tanks and spending a lot of money disposing of them properly, which is why we've been probably left with flats. But viability, fortunately, financial viability isn't written into planning policy, so that's not really an argument that they can present. So I think that's sufficient.
Thank you very much. Right. Do we have a number 2?
My Robert. I'm a resident of River. I just want to say thank you to Philip, first of all, for being the head in this discussion. I'm going to be all the heart in it. I know that doesn't sway planning, but it does sway communities. I think the fact that there's people here today, I think that we saw the comments before tonight on Facebook, shows that as a community, we're strongly saying that we don't want this as a community. I think some of the arguments that have been put forward, partly by the planners, but also by other people, you know, this really isn't for this community, this type of property that Philip's mentioned. We don't see that type of property in this area of the village. Furthermore, the cost of this type of property isn't really the sort of housing that's being asked for. The objection from me that started the sort of Facebook world of conversation, as I said, I'm not a Facebook warrior, not my sort of mission in life, but it started with a simple comment of, do others feel this could cause severe traffic issues? Please comment as you see fit. It was as simple as that. I think the passion that came out from people says they didn't like it. I think the number of objections, for me, looks large. I do take your point earlier that 75 may not alert the council, the Dover District Council, to be concerned about it. But all I would say is, you know, we have challenges in this village quite often regarding traffic, safety of children. I think this just adds to it. I won't be able to fill 5 minutes without getting more impassioned. Thank you.
Sorry, and your surname?
Holden.
Holden. I did see it on Facebook. I thought it was Jessie. Right. No, thank you both very much. We are, certainly on this parish council, all passionate about River. We wouldn't be here otherwise. It's a thankless task. But we do care about the village. We do try to make it as nice as is possible, despite what you may hear. And I mentioned the 75, not saying that's not enough, but just saying the more the better. Yeah. You need to make certain that a lot of people say, oh, I'm not happy, and they'll write something on there, and then come to the meeting tonight. We thought we were going to have to open those doors tonight, and yeah, we've got.
But it was 3 days, yeah. 75 people in 3 days. That's not too bad.
Sorry?
That was only 3 days.
I know, we could get it going for longer.
Yes. But no, what I'm saying is it is important that people register their worries, dissatisfaction, call it what you like. And I say it is very difficult when we're talking of an ugly building, or a building that is considered to be ugly, that actually is not at this stage applying for planning permission. You know, it's a weird situation. As I say, I've never come across it before. At least with outline planning, you've got an idea. It's an up and a down. It's X number of bedrooms, bathrooms. No, it could be anything that's built there eventually.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Can I just say how much sway in the overall answer, whether it's going to go ahead or not go ahead, does the actual highways department, what sway do they have in the final?
Right.
They are one of the consultees that Dover District Council has by law to ask every time there's a planning application. So they haven't put their reply in yet.
And sorry.
But they might not on this because it isn't actually the planning application.
So really there's nothing.
When the planning, if the planning application came forward, then they would actually reply to it.
So there would be another one coming.
There would be another.
There would be, and apparently on the previous one for 2 houses, highways were an objector.
Didn't want it. No.
Yeah, and so that was again. I do listen. Somebody said that tonight. So yes. But it's not. But it's not got that far as yet. This is a way of circumnavigating the normal procedure. Would be sitting about outline planning, and they would be aware. But at the moment, they're not because it could happen.
But at the end,
they will be. They are consulting. Yes. Yep.
That's what I want
if they get enough objections, they might also then put it to planning committee.
Well, sorry,
there's enough objections for planning committee.
Yes, yeah, and
then we could have this sort of form up at the council offices, and then that's been limited and reported.
Okay.
we were expecting tonight to have one, if not two, DDC councillors here, and we would have been saying to them, please ensure this goes to committee. So we will put whatever pressure we can on. As I say, there should have been one, if not two here tonight, and neither turned up. But we will certainly expect and push for this to be in committee. Yep, which gives you a chance to have your say. Yep. Thank you very much indeed. That's the end of question time from the public.
Nick, I just wanted to ask you what's going to happen about the right of way? Like we've got access, emergency access at the side of the village hall, right up to the back, which is a gate that's tied at the moment, and it's dreadful because it's gone wild like anything. Because you can't get to access to the back of the village hall because it's so badly overgrown. What is there going to be, because I've not seen the plan, was there going to be using, the side entrance to come out into Common Lane? Or is that the main entrance, as you said, is actually from River Street, isn't it?
That is their land. That is their land.
Yes,
This
but
is
we've got access.
no, excuse me. It is their land, and they are proposing to use that as a place for depositing dustbins in Common Lane. Now, you have enjoyed, probably, I would suggest, a right of access over that, but you've never owned it.
We've never owned it, Clyde. We've been along to Brillies in those days.
Yep.
And we had access. It was an
there's the
emergency
answer.
access.
Yeah, but in the plan for this, which may be built there, then no, they would be using that for storage of their bins.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. Thank you,
So
Clive.
it
for saying
could mean
that.
that we would no longer have access.
It might be.
Yes.
What could be?
Possibly. They could possibly build this at this stage in time. Nonetheless, but it's yes.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Right, we're moving on to planning matters, but there are a number of small ones before we hit this one. I say if any of you want to go, you're welcome to, but okay. Right. Andrew, over to you and Pauline, it's planning. Yep.
Oh, thank you. Right. First one obviously is an ash, two branches from an ash tree, which I have gone around and seen, and as it has to have planning permission because it's got preservation order on it, there are no comments from any public from nearby. I think they'd be rather pleased when they actually do come down. They are rather
It's
large.
always hazel outflows,
So
that one.
Yeah, so that's opposite.
Loads
It's a
of
bit of land.
I'm surprised they're doing anything there.
Opposite the houses are this side, and obviously there's a bit of land that goes down. That tree's up on there.
The point about all this is the bank.
It's going to
It's
slide
a
down the
danger
back.
to persons and property.
I think that's the one that flew
In Cowper
Yeah,
Road.
they brought one down
in the storm.
in the
didn't
storm,
it?
yes,
Yeah.
and they, as a result of that, took a few other
Yeah,
down.
so this one's
Belonged to
coming.
John Avis.
Yeah,
I think
this
he was
one's
number
gonna
one.
stop
Yes,
This
yes.
is
So
number 3 now.
yes, yep.
So this will come down.
Right.
So there's
Okay.
no one's got an objection to that, I'm sure. There's another 2 pines which are going in Kingston Close. They're leaning against the fence. They're not going to go to the house. They're in the garden. They're leaning towards the houses below. So they're quite tall as well.
Yeah.
They've asked to cut them down. There are no public comments on that one. Then we've got 60 Crabble Lane, which is access. There's no public comments. Which is this one?
Well, I've only got one printed copy of each.
No, this is what this is it. It's they're going to new access with retaining wall, isn't it? 60 Crumble Lane. That's at the top as it goes round. They want to put parking spaces on their garden, so that's why the retaining wall is going to be there. Because obviously they dip down and then go down from stairs, don't they? No.
No complaints from
There's
neighbours.
no
or
public comment.
But
I've been up and had a
nobody here.
look. I mean, they've been asked to produce a site plan, which they haven't done yet. So obviously, they've applied for KCC access to have a lower curb, That they've asked them for a site plan just to make sure they've got, looks like they've got plenty, but until that goes in, they won't grant it. But there's no,
There's only that little one at the bottom.
yeah, there's no, what's it there? The next one is a garage conversion on 14 Chiltern Way. They want it for ancillary accommodation. Doesn't say what for, whether it's a family member or what, but it's a full conversion of a garage with a bedroom, lounge, kitchen and bathroom.
Gosh,
Yeah.
it's a big garage.
They're going to extend it as well. They're going to extend it. So the garage goes to there, and then there's a bedroom being built, hoping to be built on the back. No neighbours have commented, there's no other comments on the site, but it doesn't say if it is a family member or not. So does anyone want to?
Maybe a granny.
It could be, it'd be ideal for granny access because it is separate from the house. It's self-contained.
Yeah.
It's far enough back from the pig. No,
No comment on that?
there's no comment on that one either.
No, straightforward.
This one I go home for.
Right.
We have now reached our favourite part of the evening, which is application 230, which is for the river garage.
Sorry.
I spent this afternoon reading most of all of the documents. So it is, as it says, a PRP, which is a permission in principle, which is slightly different. I've only had it when I was a councillor once in 13 years that this was applied for. Because it is, at the moment, I've got commercial permission on it for an art studio only. They would have to see if they could use this land for something else. It has been a garage in the past. It was built in 1932. So obviously it was a garage for quite a few years. And as you say, there will be waste, oil, petrol, whatever, if they do have to dig that out.
Well, there would be contamination clauses put on any permission.
Yeah, I mean, permission in principle is slightly different to normal standard planning permission. In fact, it's just to see if they can use the land and the location to actually get residential permission on it. That's all it basically is. That's all it basically is. So it isn't actually to say this will be built. We're not asking for planning permission on this, but this is an artist's impression or an idea of what they're hoping if they get this, and then they get the change of permission, which they'd have to put in to make it residential. They'd have to go from a Class 8 to a Class 3, so they've got to do that. But that is usually fairly straightforward. Usually they don't change it. I mean, most of the houses, I don't know if you've noticed on London Road, a lot of them have changed from businesses to houses now, so it's fairly often given. Yeah, there is. It is rather, I've been around and seen it. The picture here makes it look, the pavement, the road looks very large, but it isn't.
No way.
It's only with cars that park.
I don't think the person who did that has been there.
Yeah, it's not very well done there. It's not good. It is a Winfield development. If they do get that permission and then they apply for planning permission, it will be classed as a Winfield development. It's not on the local plan.
Yeah.
So any Winfield ones are looked at. Doesn't mean to say they get granted.
Sorry, what's that mean?
The local plan provides allocations around the district for building land. They supply that every 5 years. That's where they'd hope to build over. They don't necessarily. Any land that comes, usually this has been used as something else, as a commercial pitch, and it's put forward for land. Funny enough, the land behind where I live has just been granted and sold for development. But yeah, that's a Winfield site. It's an extra one. So it takes the numbers on what they've got to build. Oh, we could build here, but it doesn't necessarily work because it's not always, if it's that contaminated, it won't get built on. Like the gas mill on Coombe Valley Road, I mean, they still haven't built on that. So it's got to be for so long, hasn't it? Yes, I do agree it doesn't actually fit with the current street scene, as it's a rather older part of the village. We've got the cottage on the corner, you've got the two houses round the back, lovely bungalows.
Our bungalows move forward.
Yeah.
I haven't got a front garden on that picture.
We assume they're going to buy the front garden from us.
I do worry about wastewater and when the village hall already had trouble with
They've got
just that
a
little
big,
bit.
there's a big report in this from, to do with all the waterways and the River Dower, and they have allowed quite a distance from the back fence of the garden to the river, so it will still be allowed access from the waterways to be
But
able
that's
to.
not what I mean. I mean
No.
the volume that comes out of the blocks of flats. Of
That will all be
wall.
looked at if they put a planning application in. That is looked at by the
Yes.
consultees that have to.
Plus we've seen today that there's not enough parking as it is on a normal Tuesday. With the traffic in the river as it is.
Parking
I
isn't
know
actually.
I know they plan for parking there, but obviously it's...
But parking isn't actually a reason for turning a planning application down. It's a consideration they take into, and Highways always looks at it. And quite often they'll say it's adequate because we haven't got adequate roads in most of our towns to take the volume of
I'm
traffic.
more of a volume of traffic worry than parking.
I mean, you've got the school around the corner. It's if anyone does put a comment in, you can always mention the children, the school.
Two preschools and
Yeah.
two preschools, churches and a
Yeah,
school.
that's always worth putting in. The bins and the storage are actually planned on the bit that goes into Common Lane by the town hall. There is quite an adequate bit for, and there's a little path that, so for the people that live in those flats, if it's ever passed, and it will be discussed probably at a meeting at Casey's, at DDC, I'm sure our councillors can be asked to call the matter in if there isn't enough things, we will ask them, if it got that far. They will have to come out of their flats, downstairs, along the path, and round to their bins, because the bins aren't going to be at the front. So I presume the collection from Veolia will be by the village hall, by the looks of it. The bins bit for collection is by the village hall.
Yeah.
So
We don't have a collection from the
no, this will be the
Yeah,
normal
well,
collection. The
Yeah.
normal collection. Yeah. What else is there for me?
Oh great, it's going to blow all over on a windy day and it's going to finish school, great.
Yeah. I mean, it's it will be behind a gate. It will be a locked gate. Then.
Well, I'm not a fan.
But if anyone does have, I mean, we are considered part of Dover when it comes to planning the hierarchy of Dover. We are considered, though we're a village and we're a river, we do come under Dover. So any development is considered under the Dover plan. So, as I said, this is considered windfall. But it's not what everyone's ideal of would fit into that area of river, or in most areas of river. But we do have some flats at the other
Yes.
end of Lewisham Road, which
Which are not all actually full.
no,
I've googled this.
but they're not the same design.
So
as
they're not
this.
actually the market for it. And then there's a few that are for sale there.
Yeah. Well, it depends what market these are going for. I mean, are they going to be this level of market, or because they're right in river, will they be a
They're
little
not
bit
going to go
higher?
down there. No way.
Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
by all means, I really don't want to be against social housing here.
It won't be social housing.
Yeah.
No,
Or be snobby and saying I don't want any more people here. But there's a point where you think that this is just looking ridiculous and will
I think
affect so many people in that road and in the village.
I think most people wouldn't mind something being built there because that's just
No.
going to it has deteriorated. I mean, at the moment there's loads of,
As resident, we would love it to be built on, to make it look.
I mean, the original plans in 2017 were for two houses identical to the houses that are next to it. They looked quite nice. They were never built, although they did take it to appeal and got planning permission to build them. The developer never built them. They weren't viable.
But how how do we word this then in our comment that we don't object at the building in general, but we're dropping off?
You can write it like that.
Say a few words. I've had quite a thorough look at this application in the last couple of days, and I think that it is a carefully construed design for maximising the potential of the site. We did hear earlier on when somebody talked about this deficiencies in sort of the layout in certain ways. That's not normally a planning matter, that's a building regulation matter, but I'm quite sure that could be got round. But it is a very carefully contrived scheme. Frankly, I think the main deficiencies in it are the squeezing of the site, or squeezing this onto the site. I think that the effect on the users of River Street is going to be horrendous, because there is virtually no on-street car parking in River Street that's not used at the moment. And I think that inevitably this is going to exacerbate that. I know that you're quite right, Pauline, that planning don't normally consider car parking as an issue on its own, but in effect this is going to have far-reaching effects on River Street as a whole and also in Common Lane.
Well, it will, yes.
And I think that the sum total of that is going to, or it should, in my view, prevent permission being granted for this, eventually. I think it's a shame because the site is underused. It's a site that could be used with much more sort of beneficial effects. I think that residential is one of those, not the only one. But I think that the previous one was not properly, for Parish was not properly thought out. And I think you're right. I can't remember it actually succeeding on appeal, but if that is correct, I think it must have been a very close run thing. But I'm sure that the site is capable of residential development. The cost of it would be horrendous because of the site clearance and the clearance firm. I remember there was one site at Dodds Lane, not very far from here, going down Crubble Hill, and the people that developed that site for residential purposes had to pay a much, much higher price, and this was just at the beginning of recognition of contamination on that one. So this one here, being a former garage, it's going to be a lot of money.
I can tell you, Clive, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when we were looking for a plot of land, we looked at that.
Dodds Lane?
No, we looked at
this one.
This one, and we pulled out. It was £100,000+ just to get everything removed. It was colossal money.
Yeah, it's not so much removing it; it's where you're going to take it.
Exactly. That's what. Yes.
I mean, the stuff from Dodds Lane, I remember, because I was involved with that one, and that had to be taken down to a site in Cornwall.
Yeah. But I think that's part of the reason why they're obviously looking for maximum numbers of units.
Yes.
Just one question: you, Roger, live opposite.
Yeah.
Do people park there at the moment?
What, on that part?
Yes.
Not very often.
Oh, Oh, it's right. No, I just wondered. It would
People
be
use it
a
for
good argument.
school times,
Yes.
they park there.
Yes.
Obviously
now,
drop
yeah.
off for school, and
It's a bit
a lot of, you get the occasional builder will park there if he's
Yeah.
working on the road.
Yeah. No, I just wondered because
It's
quite,
because it's not fenced. It's not fenced in any way, is it? There's no chain or anything.
No,
No,
you
which is
just sign
unusual.
up saying feedback parking.
Yeah. Right.
And being river resident and respectful.
But if I can just stand up and show you, the actual site plan here doesn't really sort of tell the story about this, because that's on a severe, quite a noticeable slope.
It is, yeah.
And the idea of parking cars on that, even with an electric car, I think a car could be stranded there.
It's interesting trying to get out there.
Yeah. No, I think in all, it is a very contrived design to maximise the profitability of the site. But when everything's taken into account that should be taken into account with this type of application, which I am not very familiar with, but I've read up about it. It was only introduced in 2016 as an alternative to outline planning applications, but all they're doing really is, all this does, this type of application, it puts off decisions being taken for certain things at the normal stage with outline planning applications. But at the end of the day, the people that I think are behind this, we won't go any further than that, the people that are behind this are looking to probably sell it with some sort of permission and hopefully catch somebody, in my opinion, who may be not looking into it thoroughly enough. That's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
I mean, if anyone's got any comments, obviously they need to go. You might have commented already, but you can comment again.
Oh, please do.
To DDC.
Please make your objections. It's quite impressive that we've got so many objections to this being placed on the River Forum. But that's not enough, I'm afraid. You want this application to go to the planning committee, and the only way you'll get this to the planning committee meeting is if there is enough people object to it and they are sustainable objections, planning type objections. It's not sort of I don't like the applicant or anything like that, or it's a rainy day, or it's got to be sort of the sort of things that I've just said about, talked about a few minutes ago, and ask for this to be brought before the planning committee. If a sufficient number, which Pauline will confirm for me, I can never remember what it is. It's quite a small number.
Whether this goes, because this isn't actually a planning application for those houses. This is just to get permission to actually consider building on that site, which could be decided by officers. But the more objections you put in with sound reasoning, the more they have to consider it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what
I mean, if you've got, we want something built there, but not this shape, style, houses, you can put that in, sort of supporting the fact that otherwise that site itself is just going to degrade more than it is at the moment.
Oh yeah.
It's degraded a lot.
I mean, it's all brambles on one side and all round the back into the village hall.
I mean, we will decide in a moment whether we can support it. But,
Can I just ask one other question? I don't know a lot about planning. There's a restriction on it at the moment. It can only be used as an artist's studio.
Yes, it's a
That
class.
sounds unusual to me.
Well,
no.
the person who owned that before
It was put forward, it's a class 8, they asked for it solely to be used as an artist studio. You can ask for that.
Right.
It's a
It just sounded restrictive that somebody was almost intentionally trying to stop this sort of thing by putting something so restrictive.
They wanted to open it as an art gallery and it didn't work.
Right.
So it is a case of applying for a change of use to make it a class 3A, and that'll be it. then that becomes a residential area.
So if they put one multi-million-pound house on there, question mark whether that be achievable, but that would get them their change of use. And
They have
most
to apply
people
for the
would
change of
reject-
use separate, then
Right.
they put the plans in.
Sorry.
But they're
My
usually,
technical knowledge obviously isn't as good.
they are usually put in together, because obviously that is not going to be a business there, I shouldn't think. You can't open a shop because you've got the co-op, you can't open a greengrocers, you've got Katie's, you've got the post office up the road. It's well within a mile and a half of a post office, so they won't let you open another one. So it wouldn't be a business unless it opened a garage again, which is highly unlikely. You'd have to spend a lot on that building to actually get it up to business standards.
Well, it's the site preparation, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the site preparation.
I
And
mean, it was a garage, but it hasn't been a garage for 20
That's
years.
right.
easiest
But it's ridding the site of contamination.
Yes,
Keep it a garage.
yeah,
So,
so it's,
Pauline, with
yeah, so we
obviously,
need,
so what
we need the committee to decide whether we would like to put anything, our opinions into DDC, or whether you approve of the application, or whether you want to put some notes in, and I can write them out and send them to Andrew, either way, so that we need to vote on what your consideration of this application is.
Yeah.
So, would anyone like to vote for absolutely agreeing with it, or did you want to vote to put certain ideas through and see what DDC take note of?
Well, I think the inviolability of the development of the site is probably the most important thing that we can do at the moment. It would simply cost so much money to clean that site up.
Although that would only come under when they put in for.
Oh yes, but I think at this stage, I mean,
Is what objections you have to the permission in principle that we've got to put through, rather than the actual building? Do we want residential there? Do we want a change of what they're, because I assume that's what they propose to put there in the end.
oh yes, I mean that's
Something
quite
similar
clear.
to that anyway.
That's quite clear. But for it to be, it eventually to be used as residential development.
I assume that's
Well,
what will happen.
that's quite clear on
Yeah.
the next page, isn't it? In principle, for up to 6 dwellings.
Yeah. They went for pre-planning permission. They actually paid for that and went for that. And there were changes, I don't quite know what changes, but I think this is smaller than what they originally went for. I get the impression it's smaller, or changed. It's changed from what they originally went for.
But nonetheless, to develop the site or redevelop the site for use for residential development, I think would be horrendously expensive.
So can I have a show
surely,
of
but
hands?
we can't say we don't agree with the plan because we think it's not viable. That's up to the builder. We can't say it's not viable to do it because they've obviously worked their numbers out, and I would think
It's whether we agree, whether you say no comment and the permission, or do we put in, there are strenuous objections from the village itself.
well, there are obviously
Strong.
are many objections
Yeah.
from the village.
And we do support, we are here as village representatives.
It's only a scale.
Yeah.
The principle is absolutely acceptable. Lovely. It'd be really nice to have that.
Yeah, principle's acceptable, but
It's
yes,
just
the scale.
The quantum and the scale
Yeah.
Yes.
is incongruous.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah. So
Clive,
shall
you
I?
agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shall I shall write that to them?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
right. That's fine. Everyone
Okay.
agree with that? Yeah, yeah. Next meeting? Right.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, because it's not actual total planning commission, it's just.
No, it's
county
not.
check.
But it's gonna bounce back to us in
Possibly, yes.
6 months' time. 3 months.
Well, it will do. It's,
Yeah.
if they decide to go ahead, it will have to come back here again for us to approve. But no, Pauline is right with the number of people that have commented on this. As a parish council, we would be derelict in our duty if we didn't listen to it, bring it to the attention of DDC. But I said earlier, it's up to you how far it goes. That's all we can do as a parish council.
There are actually 77 comments on the DVC side at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's probably
And there are 77 objections. I've just gone through the whole lot.
Right. Okay then, I shall write that. I'll send it to you to say.
Wait till tomorrow when you've got 80 probably.
Yeah.
You can write that.
I'll do that tomorrow then.
But-
Okay. And I'll keep you
But
all
I think it's
posted on what
important
happens.
that we have said that we think for residential use, we would like to see that happen.
Yes.
We would like to see it used.
A different.
Yes. Yes. I would hate for whoever it is to be stuck with it and not able to do anything. They've got to be able to do something. Right. Well, that wasn't bad. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, which is financial report.
Okay, well, you've all got a copy of the abridged version of the financial report. So it's basically the bank reconciliation, the income and expenditure. I've sent you all by email the full report, which includes bank statements.
Does that include another precept to come?
It will do. I checked this afternoon. The 24, 25 precept has not arrived yet.
But it will be
But
very short.
should be
And
through.
we're talking 60.
So that'll be 60, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. So no, I'm just bearing in mind what we're going to spend on that little floor.
So as soon as that arrives,
Yes.
obviously I'll transfer as much out of the current account into the deposit account to bring that up to about 85,000 or so. Receipts in the month very low. We haven't received. We haven't.
Sorry, can we? It's all right, forgot.
Sorry, I'm
It's
sorry.
all right. Yeah, thank you.
This is
Sorry,
numbers,
Andrew.
I can't concentrate with your whisper.
Yeah, receipts very low in this month. We've received the payment from the cafe for their utilities. We had an interest payment and one store booking coming in. They're very slow coming in for the fate. The chairman has been in touch with the cafe about the lease payments, and they have been paid. They were behind. Apparently, there was supposed to be a direct debit set up, but it didn't.
It did the first 1 or 2 payments, didn't it?
Yeah,
And
but
then
some
failed,
was-
so 3 went in this afternoon, yes.
So my standard very small difference on the reconciliation there, and then on the page 2 you've got the transactions for March. The electrical direct debit has gone up. So I'm in the process at the moment of calculating just what electricity the buildings and the rec are using, so I can adjust the amount that's being paid.
But obviously you think
It's the amount.
the increase in power, yes.
Is it cafe maybe, really well?
Well,
No,
the
it's
cafe
the
we're getting.
office.
we're
It's
getting
the
that
office.
back.
The office. Yeah, no, Andrew's getting together some figures so we can speak to them. Yep.
So yeah, handyman, groundworks for the month. That's the last month that we're paying GW Landscaping.
Okay.
No, so we would just have paid the last month at the beginning of April, and then next month it will be Burr Landscaping are taking over. Cleaning services, water supply, refuse, some cleaning materials for the toilets, quarterly safety inspection for the play areas, the grant that we made. My annual salary payment has come out, and
That was monthly.
yeah, I wish.
Shall we vote on that?
Yes.
The materials from the tool station, I was going to bring that up at the end, but as you know that Evie Thomas has volunteered to clean the signs street signs in River as part of her bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award, so that's materials for her she's got going on that.
Great.
Repairs to the play area, again,
There's a lot of signs.
expenses for the office, plus a couple of receipts from me and service charge for the bank. And then right at the bottom is the total for the year, effectively 92,661. Subject to internal and external audit, but I'll bring those figures to the AGM next month. And then that figure of 8,300 VAT, which will be what we'll be reclaiming, reclaimable in the next couple of months. So that's the current position with the finances.
Right. Any questions from anyone?
No.
Do we need to propose
No.
a second? No.
Well, that's okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Perfect. Receive and discuss the updated highways improvement plan.
Right, you have all got a copy of that.
There is a spare one if you
Yeah, I've got
want.
that.
No, I was going to say there's a spare one there if somebody there wanted to look at what we're looking at, but just so you can see we're not looking at blank. Yeah, that's the one. Yes.
Sorry, my projector has failed us.
So obviously this is a draft at the moment. This is following on from an online meeting that I had with Kent Highways. Nigel Collar was in on the meeting as well, giving his advice on it. So one item which is still left over from last year's plan, which was the sign, the unsuitable for heavy goods vehicle sign, which was planned to go on the junction with Auburn Valley Road and Lower Road. There is actually an existing post there that it's meant to go on. It seems as though it all went through. KCC had said yes, that was fine, but for whatever reason it was stuck. So the local representative is just checking that through and getting that through for us.
Although it is happily very good to see that the other thing that wasn't broke has finally been done. The double yellow lines extending up Common Lane.
Yeah, that seems to have been done.
Took some time.
So the next few items are items that we talked about and I discussed with them. The situation is that they will look at one or two priorities each year. So I think what we really need to look at is which order we want to have things in. I imagine that the number one, the one left over from last year, will not necessarily count. Hopefully we've got three, that one and then the next two, which they will look at this year, depending on what order you want to have a look at. And the other thing to be considered is we did discuss this problem with the signage for the 20 mile per hour zone, zone not limit, as we found out. So what I was asking for was an additional roundel, something on the corner of Common Lane and Lower Road to repeat it. But our sort of local representative has discussed this with her colleagues, and they said no, they're not. We have the correct number of roundels. Roundels in any case are only accompanying repeater signs, and they're not going to put any extra signs up. The only thing I can suggest is that they have given me their 20 mile per hour kit, which includes bin stickers and all sorts of posters and all sorts of things.
Okay.
And if there are enough people in Lower Road who'd be prepared to put one on their bin,
Maybe the phone box can have one.
Yeah.
I'll drop one. And then at least there's some extra. There is also a rather large banner.
To make boxes.
Yes.
You know,
Is that graffiti?
Graffiti.
but there's also a large banner, but we'd need somewhere private property to put the banner up. So I don't know if we can find it.
Banner?
How big is the banner?
I haven't actually unfurled it yet. It's all rolled up. I'll have a look at it and see.
I've got a fair bit on the wall.
Oh well, you know, it's possible. I'll measure it and let you know. Yeah.
My cat would appreciate that.
You know, it repels the extras as well.
Yes.
It just bounces back from it.
Easier to wash off. Yeah.
So I think, subject to me speaking to them again, I think we could actually take that out of the plan because it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen there.
Yeah.
I find that stupid.
In that case, we then can shift up the next two priorities. Number 3 on the list is something to do with the priority of traffic in one direction along the section of Lower Road from
By Cramell Mill.
from the
Because
beach.
you almost get pushed into the river sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, there isn't enough room for 2 cars to pass. A lot of people do try and they bank the pavement, but the idea proposed by a river resident to me was, why didn't we have a priority in one direction? And you see it so often, you know, red light, you know, you've got to give way for oncoming traffic because it is an accident waiting to happen. People come up there so quickly, they clip the curb and they're up on the curb and there's people on the curb. I mean, it really is dangerous. But how they've got comments on that?
Yeah, well, they're looking to see what's feasible. They'll get back to us. I mean, I was just running on.
What's the build at? Yeah, I'm glad you asked that.
There's a river or just built onto the water, are they?
No, if you have an area where there's priority of 1, you have kind of build outs on either side.
Oh yes, yes,
We've
yeah.
got one up
And then you have a kind of a
Yeah.
rumble strip on there. So it's,
And the signage.
and the signage, yeah. So
So
it's,
one side has to stop and the other side.
Yes, we've got to give priority, yes.
so someone from Kent Highways will actually have to go up there with a measuring tape.
Good,
and work
but I
out.
think that is something that is needed. It would be a good idea.
And then next one down is Lewisham Road speeding particularly. Before anything else can be considered, they've really got to do these tube surveys. And I have actually got a date through this afternoon. They'll be starting the survey on the 24th of April for a week. There'll be a couple of locations on Lewisham Road where they're putting on the tubes and they'll be collecting some data. And it's leading on from that they'll consider what is possible there and what they would consider possibly a speed indicator device. I think somewhere they're also saying possibly like a temporary 20 mile per hour limit during school opening and closing times with some signage along there. But it really depends what comes back from the surveys. I did ask them about a zebra crossing. What about the zebra crossing?
They tried that twice.
But yeah, we've tried it and it's failed. And
Many times.
I really don't see why a zebra crossing would be making any difference when nobody walks anyway to school. We didn't find that would have been nice in the 60s, but I don't find they're not allowed to walk till year 6 into school
Yeah, they're not allowed.
without the parents till year 6. You know, it's just Because I asked mine, obviously, being German, you start at age 6 walking to school.
Is that safeguard?
And then I said, no, they're little, they could be kidnapped.
Yes.
Do they have to, do the teachers have to see the parent or guardian?
Yes.
Before they're
Yes.
charged?
And only year 6 are allowed to walk home unaccompanied.
Yeah, everyone else has to have their parent.
No,
You have to nominate people.
No,
you have to tell one parent that's allowed.
Or grandparent
Yeah,
or
somebody.
somebody.
If you've got to tell them that Artie's going to get her to have a phone call.
You have to phone up. Check.
But yeah, I can see the point, but it's just why I find the zebra crossing that's important.
Now, what worries me is a temporary 20 mile an hour speed limit. It'll have as much effect as 20 mile an hour speed limit on Lower Road.
Yeah. they
people
don't
just,
police it?
no.
I think the idea is that it will be set up with those flashing lights.
Yeah, good, if we can do that, it may,
slow people down as they're going past.
Yeah.
And then the last one on the list, this is something that's come up a few times before, so I just spoke to them about it, which is the pathway underneath the railway bridge on Auckland Road. I just asked them, is there anything?
It's virtually impossible to do anything, that's the trouble.
Yeah, I mean, they suggested leaving it on there. I said, leave it on there down the bottom. Temple You're are also concerned about it.
Yeah.
So if something comes up with developers
Yeah.
work around that area, it's possible that there might be something.
But you can get some idea, we suggest these things, we ask for these things, and there's always many reasons why it can't happen, or it's at the end, yes.
Mind you, I thought that, I was rather surprised about this, but I was rather surprised about the bridge on the way to Lydden, what they did there. They constructed a sort of a tunnel.
Yes,
Yeah.
But you've got the space there to do
Yeah.
it. You
They don't
at
own the
Kearsley,
land
there's nowhere to go, is it?
No.
You,
They used to have the land,
Yes.
they don't anymore.
But, you know, practicalities apart,
So
it's a good idea.
if I remove the 20 mile per hour, because that's not going to happen, extra signage, that shifts everything up. So the second priority would then be the lower road priority, and then the next one would be speeding along
Wiltshire Road, which is a big problem.
Yeah. So if I then possibly remove down on number 5, remove that zebra crossing idea, and then put on their advisement, put something about temporary 20 mile per hour. That will all kind of come together after they've got the results from these surveys.
Yep. Good.
And so if you're happy with that, I'll go back to
Absolutely, yes.
I'll go back to them with an update on that.
Right, thank you, Andrew. We're going to move on to receive a proposal. I spoke to River Gardeners some weeks ago with regard to them helping us to possibly plant additional areas that we could tidy up, make brighter in the village. Having gone around a number of times looking, there aren't any obvious plots, but what I have been looking at is a number of villages have gates coming into the village, so my suggestion is that we had one a gate by Kearsley Abbey as you come round into Lower Road, and we would have one just opposite the cricketers on that bit there as you come down into River. It's just an idea, and I'm also looking at 3 planters. These would, the gates have a planter with them, so there's flowers, but in them. They're decorative, they look really good. And I was also proposing one large planter on Lewisham Road, close to where the bus shelter was and is going to be again. There's a large area there. There's one at the terminus, and there's one by the small bridge in Lower Road opposite the home, which is empty at the moment. So suggestion is 3 planters that River Gardeners would plant out for us. We would provide the plants, the bulbs, whatever it may be, and the idea is they would be sort of seasonal, so we'd have colour in the village virtually 52 weeks of the year. These 3 areas, River Gardeners have agreed they'll do it, and they would also look after the planter associated with the gates. But it's just a concept, and I went out and looked at the Coldbridge ones and Lydden, which looked wonderful until you get close up to them, and they really are in a state there, desperately in need of a coat of paint. And I said, I think if we did it, then we'd keep them natural wood, they'd be stained much better, but they look nice. And what I'm trying to do is to get people, when they come into River, we're in River, it's nice, a little bit of pride in the village. So it's just an idea. I've got no idea of cost, but I wanted just to propose that and ask if somebody would second that idea, and then I'll try to put. Yes.
Would you like me to find out if you need planning permission? Or
Andrew's already been asked, yes, yeah. Sorry, no, he doesn't, but I had said to know, you know me,
It was just
I have
the
these
pavement
ideas,
one,
and I
with
immediately
KCC.
dropped a note to Andrew saying, I'm thinking of doing this, will we need to get planning from
well, it's not
DGC?
planning permission, it's just permission from
Yes, but you
KCC.
said that actually for the planting, we needed to speak to
Yeah, it's the licence to cultivate.
licence
is,
to
yes.
cultivate.
As well.
Yeah, so you learn all the time, I'm still learning. But it's what seems a simple idea, but then suddenly, but yes, we would,
Especially the ones on pavement, but they don't remove them in one way.
yes,
It's just
yep,
permission from them,
Yes.
which could ask at the same time.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had asked, I didn't, Andrew, I did raise it, anything I'm not certain about, I did to Andrew,
Oh,
he sorts it,
that's all right.
yes, yeah.
I
But-
didn't want us to put them there and then they
Yeah,
said,
no,
"Take it
oh
away."
no, and at the moment I've no idea what the cost of those gates are, the planters, etc. There'll be
Okay,
plants,
we
but
don't
that
know.
won't be a lot of money.
Mm.
But as I say, it's just an idea I've got, and I'd like to, well, ideally, if you agree, give me permission and I will obviously get some meat on the bones. It'll take me a couple of meetings more likely, but I've got to find out who makes these gates. It may be I'd go to Jackson Fencing and they could do half a gate or something. If they know what it's for, quite often they would do quite a deal on price. But would you like me to pursue that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, can I add one small element into that?
Yeah.
As an element of community outreach, that sort of project is often a really good case study for tradesmen, young
Yep.
tradesmen, a joiner or a carpenter.
Yes.
You could get a college class involved in that. If the parish provided the materials, they could take it on as a project to construct it.
Can you take this man's name because we're looking for a councillor? Yes. Yes. We're looking for. Yes, there we are.
Give you my email.
I'll send you an application form for parish council in a minute. Yes. No, we are desperate. It's hard
If
work.
I was on the council, I was doing my hair.
Yeah.
I've got a bit to lose.
Can I borrow it if it comes off?
But no, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, there's a few
Yes.
that started up there.
Yes.
isn't there?
Yep.
Would you say college?
But yeah, for me, it's just trying to get things back into the village, making people. I'm pleased Mike is here because Mike's our expert on the river, and I want to do more in and around the river. You know, it used to be in the old days we could get into the river in our Wellington boots and take stuff out of it and sort it out. And now it's not quite as easy as that. You can't do it. I brought a pair of waders that I've never worn, and that's the honest truth. But yeah, I am trying to make the river a nicer place to live. It's a lovely place, but yeah, we could make it, and I just want to make people proud of it. On my jottings in the rival, the next one, I have put a note there. Please, if you've got a front garden that's growing over the pavements, you know, trim it back. Various areas you walk along the pathway and you can't walk because someone's hedges is across. So I was asked to do it for the last rival. I forgot, so I actually did my rival report today really early, and that was on there. So trying to cover everything. And just while we're talking, I saw you were looking for someone editor with the rival. I'm certainly not volunteering for that, but there's. Are you? How are you getting on with? Well,
It's struggling.
yes, yeah. With administration, I think there's only the two. I don't.
There's two of us, the trustees, plus two organisations, which is WI and River Gardeners, and then we have somebody who is willing to stand at the moment and do the rival as the editor, and then we've also got somebody who does all of the advertising. So we're really struggling.
Yes, yeah. No, I was just going to say I didn't know whether I don't say conjoin forces, but whether we could maybe help in some ways. But it means you opening up to let us in. But I'm not looking to get in. But I just want.
We are desperate, if you can imagine. I mean, it's been going a long time. But talking about the planters, River Gardeners, I had a meeting the other week and we talked about it, and I think it's about volunteers.
Yes, yes,
So
Yes, yes. Suvic contacted me. She asked, and I sent her a copy of the idea of the 2 sets of gates, or two gates, because ours would be a single gate, or you may get something different design, but yeah, and the planters. So she's well aware, and she said yes, she's got more volunteers, which is great. Sorry, I better move on to item 11, because it's gone 9 o'clock, and I always try to finish before 9. Right. Discuss any matters connected with the wreck. Yeah, just so you do know, John Hill started, the fence has gone up across the small patio behind the cafe. We've now got our part of that. We've not quite got half, but there was a building there before, which was the line. 2 large panels of fencing have gone in. All of their wheelie bins at the other side, all their rubbish is the other side. Gates are going to go on this week, or a gate going to go on this week. It will be hung from a post, not on their wall, because it will be a heavy gate. John's got to put the post in, and the gate will be in, but we will then he will resurface our part of the yard. It's a tiny area, but it's just that the cafe want to store equipment, their outside furniture, and they've got a small building which they can't put in at the moment because the wheelie bins from the flats are there. So we've segregated it. So that's actually happened. Before I came here tonight, I drove by the wreck and it was there. And yeah, John has said the gates will be up this week. So give me a week or 2, they will be up. John isn't always the quickest, but he does get there eventually. So that is good. I have spoken to John with regard to the cafe, because a lot of people have said to me, disappointed it's not open that much, it's closed more than it's open. It's difficult because John was going to run it himself, they had their ideas, his wife then is not well, brother-in-law was going to help, is also ill, so they obviously put the other people in there. He's spoken to them, they're having a larger counter put in there, they can do bacon rolls, hot sausage rolls, they're going to start doing things, and I've said to him they have to make it more open, because this weekend they didn't open it on a Saturday. Football in the wreck, 100 people in there, and there's no cafe, and everyone's moaning to me, and so I have let it be known that I'm not happy that we're not getting what I thought was going to be a nice little tea room there that would be open, you could pop in. It's not.
I think something ought to be said about the 2 o'clock closing on Sunday as well.
Yes, oh well, I have. I mean, it's very difficult. They're young ladies that run it. They've got young children, so yes. But you know, it's the village feels let down. Everyone goes there, and 9 times out of 10, it's closed. It's a pity. So no, I am nicely, and okay, it's on here now, so the young ladies will hate me. But we need to. It needs to be more open. It was we obviously got it. Well, completely refurbished at no cost. The person that refurbished it has it for 5 years. He's paying us a rent, so it's a win-win for us. We've got a building now worth a lot of money. We're getting £3,500 a year in rent, which is and in 5 years is ours. And he, you know, we'll either continue to rent it, we'll run it, but it's really. Yeah, it's not working as it should do. So again, on behalf, I do say to the village, sorry.
I think the bad weather actually
Yes,
put them off.
in all fairness, I mean, we don't expect them to sit there in the
2 months
pouring
of
rain.
really bad weather,
Nobody
no
can
customers,
Yep.
yeah.
Are you able to potentially put forward a volunteer motion, so that if there are any volunteers who would like to work in the shop?
Well, it's up to they actually.
So they're
run
the
it,
parish's
yes.
They're,
Yes.
well, the builder is, but he's sublet it to them because
Right.
his wife was ill, couldn't run it.
Ask them if they want to put
Yeah,
that
it's
out
just,
yourself.
I'm sure there might be some people who'd be up for doing a few hours here and there, just
Yep.
as a bit of social time.
Yes, yep.
But
I don't know who the ladies are, but if they are watching, there are people that want work experience still in this day and age.
Yep.
So, there are people that can help them.
But it's John's decision.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've spoken to John and he said, it's just that so many people have said to me, it's never open. You know, and
We just take the rent, so anything they take within the coffee shop is theirs, is that what?
Yeah.
yes, oh yes, yes, oh yes, yeah, we've got a building refurbished at no cost, and we get, you know, £3,500 a year. It's for the parish council, a flipping good deal.
So
yes.
this opportunities like the weekend, when the weather's nice and you can make, you know, you have to, with something like that, you've got to take the rough with the smooth.
I also say when the weather's bad, I take dibs out and go, it's cold, I'm going to go and get a coffee.
It's cold inside.
But
it's
sorry,
outside
yeah,
there.
but anyway, I have tried to address that one,
Hopefully it will.
but
No,
I
the
think
Yeah.
it's
summer's
all
coming.
going to be a bit more consistent now in the weather.
Now the summer's
Yep.
coming, yeah.
right.
Hopefully.
Item 12, to receive any general correspondence received.
Oh, please no.
Right, I've got a couple of items. One is a sort of an official one. Beg your pardon. We always need to be informed as a parish council if the Mayor of Dover is entering the territory, and she will be. Councillor Sue Jones is visiting Kersney Cafe on 19th of April.
Yeah.
Yes.
To do with their fair trade status. So any members of the parish council who wish to attend.
Oh, we've got our events meeting.
Oh, it's true, isn't it? 10
I'm
o'clock.
moving there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the wedding venue now, isn't it?
Yes, because it's a shame it was nice sitting in there as opposed to the, yes. Right.
So that was the official notification. And the other one, we've had a, this is coming from KLC. They've got a free in-person community resilience planning workshop for parish, town and community councils, which is an all-day training event, which I'm trying to find where it is, at Ashford. Tuesday 21st of May, if anyone's interested, 9:30 to 4:15. So yeah, it's a free
About
Training.
general training.
general training, resilience planning,
Resilience.
emergency planning, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Is that in face-to-face or online?
It's face-to-face, actually, in person.
Yeah, in Ashford.
What day is it?
Ashford.
21st of May.
21st of May.
Oh,
I can send that through.
yeah, send it, but I'm
if you want.
not sure.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Anything
I'm
else?
not resilience.
No, that's okay.
Right. Okay, that's the end of business as I have. Just quickly going around the table. Anyone got anything else?
No.
Christian?
I know the phone box had a bit of a hard time.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of a busy month with my eldest turning 18 and Easter and my birthday, and my mum was here. So I'm gonna look at it next week. It's a bit more quiet, and sort through the books and see what needs, a bit more tidying up.
Yep.
I think it was quite. I've driven past and it didn't look too bad.
No, I looked after those books had been taken and set fire
Yeah.
to. I thought, gosh, it's going to be a muddle in there. It wasn't.
No, it's fine.
And I thought you'd been there. I thought you were
No,
the elf that had done it. No, somebody
else did
somebody
it,
had
thank
tidied
God,
it up, so
whoever
that's
it was,
good.
thank you.
Yes.
There's a couple there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, Christian, that really is working well.
Yes.
I was
Normally
a
it's
doubting
working
Thomas.
well.
I thought, no, it's going to be a real mess. It looks great, where it's been refurbished, and it is being used, and it's being used most of the time as it should be. So well done. Yep.
Good, that's it.
Lovely. Pauline?
No, just to note that they finished cutting all the trees down at Clavel. I know it's not quite river.
Yes.
They came yesterday and they finished the large one that had a rather rude finger.
Yeah, it looked
pointed
like a
upwards.
cactus,
That's
didn't
all
it? It
gone
looked
now.
like a cactus. It's
Yeah,
massive.
that's all gone now.
Yes.
And they took most of the large logs away. There was a lot in there today.
I'll miss
as well.
that sound though.
Obviously they won't plant trees until autumn.
Yep.
And I don't quite know what they've got to take some trunks out yet. So
Yes.
they've got to take
But massive. No, we walked through there. We watched the
so
rugby.
much lighter. The
Yes.
people that live in the houses around there, so
Wow.
much
Oh
lighter.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Probably
yes.
it's made to order their spoon cake.
It does look
You
Great.
can see now.
Lovely. Right. On that note, I'll say at 9:10, meeting closed, and thank you all very much for coming. It is nice to see actual people. Yes. Yeah.
Are we happy?